in. Give people some few minutes to join here. Got the post going in the school group. For any of you who are joining, post who you are, where you're from, what business you operate over in the chat. Say good morning over there. Jacob, how you doing this morning?
Very good, very good. Happy to be here.
Buddy good. Happy to be here. All right, rock and roll. We got people rolling in. Hey, good morning, everybody. Who's joining? Put your name, where you're from, what business you operate over in the chat. Good morning. We got a good one from Jacob coming this morning on owner versus operator. We'll kick off here in a few minutes. Post your name, where you're from, what business you operate over in the chat. And this morning, think about for those of you who are joining from the school group, what has been holding you back in business? What's the big thing holding you back right now? So if you're trying to answer one question, what is that question you're trying to answer? We'll have some time at the end for Q&A. So post your question in the chat, and we'll make sure to circle up and get to all of them. What's going on, Matt? Good morning. Michigan Forestry Mulching. That's a good name right there.
Heck yeah.
That's SEO optimization at its finest. Jacob, if you were going to name a business right now, if you had to start a forestry mulching business, what market do you go and what name do you choose that's not being used right now?
If you're asking me, I don't want to move, and there's a good market here. So
okay, all right. Well, you can't choose your backyard.
But yeah, if we're not choosing backyard, I really like the south and east because the trees grow back so fast. The regrowth is kind of crazy. But and then you don't have to deal with the mountains. You can get places pretty fast. So yeah, really anywhere in the south. The Gulf Coast seems pretty darn good. Florida is pretty darn good. People are really solution aware. That being said, I'm gonna have a hard time saying the location, but
okay,
land clearing near me seems like a pretty good name to make.
Oh my gosh, that's gonna be a race right now on GoDaddy. Who owns that? Who owns that one? Hey guys, we'll get started in a couple minutes here. Jacob's got a good one prepared for us this morning. Jacob, what are people going to learn this morning?
That's a great question. Hold on. I've got it ready to launch.
Yeah, I think we got it on the screen.
Don't lose me.
You're trying to go by land clearing near me?
Maybe. Yeah, no. So
it's a race.
Today, what we're going to learn is the biggest difference between the guy working 70 hours a week, making $300K a year, and the guy who took last Friday off making multiple millions. It's not luck, and I want to show you exactly why with some data to back it up.
Okay, fantastic. Well, we will get started, kicked off. I want to say good morning. Good morning, Randy from Cotter, Arkansas. Ozark Brush Busters. Oh, that's a good one. I haven't heard the Brush Buster yet.
Nice.
I like that. Black Timber Forestry, New Meadows, Idaho. Good morning.
What's going on?
What's going on, Jake? Good morning. Greeting from Granite City, Land Clearing, St. Cloud, Minnesota. Good morning. Brush Defenders USA. Good morning. Good morning, Jeff. J&L Brush Clearing and Forest Mulching in Michigan. Timber Shredders LLC. That's a good one too.
Yeah, I like that one.
Good morning.
There's a new one in Texas, Land Busters.
Land Busters?
Yeah.
Here to bust up your land. All right, it's 7:05. Let's get started. Jacob.
Let's do it.
All right, listeners, welcome back to another episode of the Owner Ops Podcast. I'm your host, Austin Gray. We've got Jacob Neffendorf with Rise Online Ads, Land Clearing Growth joining this morning. Jacob, welcome to the show. What are people going to learn this morning?
Yes, sir. The biggest difference between the guy working 70 hours a week, making low six figures, and the guy who took last Friday off making multiple millions. It's not luck, and I want to show you exactly why with some data to back it up.
Fantastic. Well, I'm excited to get started into this one. What's the difference?
Owner versus operator. The mindset shift. That's the difference. So every business hits the same three walls, right? Lead, sales, talent. We talk about this all the time. Obviously, leads, it's got to come first. People have to know you exist. No leads, no opportunities, no revenue. That's where every business starts. Once you solve that to some degree, sales is going to be the next one, right? You have to get them from finding out about you to actually hiring you and paying you. This is where money is made or lost. Then you got talent. You can't grow past yourself alone. Who do you hire first? How much? When does that make sense? This is the owner's job. Now, as you move along, this flywheel repeats itself. The operator trap. I like to set this frame. You started the business because you're great at the work most of the time, but the work is what keeps you stuck. The operator knows everything about the day to day. Oil capacity on his machines, can probably re-weld anything, maintenance, torque specs, first one at the job, last one to leave, works in the business every day, but the revenue is capped at what that one person can produce. The owner knows things like their cost per lead. They track their close rate, operating expenses. They know how much to charge and why. They hire for their weakness and double down on their strength. They work on the business, and revenue scales with the team, not the individual. Now, the reason I like to set this frame is a lot of people, when I say stuff like this, they think, oh, I'm not going to work for the guy who doesn't know how to operate the machine, or you can't really run the business right if you're not a good operator. I'm not saying having those skills is not important or doesn't make you a better business owner at the end of the day. I'm saying these are two different skills, and the best operators are not the best owners. It's two different skills. The hard truth, I want y'all to think about this. This means a lot to me because I have lived it very, very closely. Sometimes it's easier just to work hard your whole life because you're comfortable with that. You grew up being taught, if you grew up like me, work harder, work longer. Once you get used to that, busting your butt all day is actually more comfortable than sitting down and learning something you don't know how to do, or looking silly, or the possibility of failing. The skills that got you to 300K a year with one machine, you being the operator, are not the skills that get you to 3 million and beyond. At some point, you have to become something you've never been. The best leaders are not always the best doers. Some of the best coaches in history never played at the highest level, but they studied the game, they built systems, they developed talent. The best restaurant owners are not in the kitchen. They're building the brand, managing the team, and growing the business. The best captains and chiefs in the fire department or the military, they're not the best on the front line, but they lead, they make decisions, and they build teams. Your job is not to be the best mulcher, dozer, or excavator operator forever. It's to build a company that doesn't need you on every job so that you can have the most impact. The data here doesn't lie. From over 460 land clearing companies, the average close rates was 6%, where top performers are 24%. And over 65% of people are just not tracking their numbers the way they should. The top 10% are not working harder, they're working on different things. 65% of companies don't even fully track their pipeline, and the revenue gap between those who do and don't is insane. That's an owner decision, not an operator skill. Now, when does hiring make sense? The math, most operators never do. They look at it more of an expense. Can I afford this? But the question is, can I afford not to? And also, if you remind me later, I have an insanely perfect scenario for this that happened last night of a guy that I talked to. If you're doing 40K a month solo and your crew member that you want to hire, you need to hire, costs 5K a month, and they can help you take on just 20K more in work a month, that's a 15K net gain. 20K for most of you guys, you're talking 3 or 4 jobs. Insane. Now, who do you hire first? If your bottleneck's production, obviously, operator or laborer. If you're turning away work because you can't physically do more or you're booked out too far, 4 to 6 weeks we kind of found is the sweet spot. Get someone on the machine so you can run estimates, close deals, manage the business, or maybe even run another machine. I did consult with Austin. I didn't change this on the slide. Probably you need to be a little higher depending on your area for this. I put $18 to $25 an hour here. It's sounding more like if you want to get good people, push more towards that 25, 30 plus, especially in the operator realm. If your bottleneck is, one thing I want to say on that. If you're, if you're not at this spot yet, you should budget like you're going to be paying an operator, even if you're the one doing it, because it will make it way easier. I made this mistake in the past. It will make it way easier to hire somebody if you pretend that you're paying them right now. If your bottleneck is sales, you should hire a closer or an estimator. It will probably be the biggest return on investment you ever get. In this window of like the low 6 figures to multiple 7 figures, this could be really one of the biggest return on investments you get if you do it right. That being said, if you don't want to make that jump and you're not getting to leads fast enough, you're not closing a good percentage, and you're not following up enough, you need to get someone answering the phone and working those leads. At a minimum, you need some kind of CRM with automated text, voicemails, and follow-up. These close the gap on speed to lead and follow-up instantly. Next kind of intermittent step there would be paying a family member, a friend, a VA, anyone to at least monitor the phones and make sure every lead is called back fast, texted fast, and followed up with often. Any amount you pay for this will be 10x worth whatever you're paying them if you could just get one more job a month, and it's going to look better on your reputation. CRM's $100, $300 a month. Phone help, $500 to $1,500 a month. A true closer, like somebody like a sales guy for you, you'd be looking more in the $3,000 to $5,000 a month plus commission. Again, though, if that guy gets you one more job a month, that's worth it. But I'm telling you, if you do this right, they're going to get you a lot more than that. And then you're going to be jumping over to operation and production being your bottleneck. Either way, hire for your weakness, not your strength. So if you are a killer at sales and you know you are great at it, then hire the operations and keep the sales rolling. One of the first hires I ever made for Rise was sales. So I knew sales was not my strong suit. But doing the work, building the ads, marketing, I knew that was my strong suit. So I hired my weakness first. Hiring is marketing. Holy cow, guys. I can't find good help is the hiring version of marketing doesn't work. It's just false. People have to know you exist. One Facebook post is not hiring. Run it like a campaign. You have to look good. Culture, reputation, brand. Would you want to work for your company? You need a good offer, competitive pay, clear expectations, and growth opportunities. You also need a training program, not just show up and figure it out. You need clear, documented, standard operating procedures, clear expectations, and a clear path up. And you need to interview at volume. Just like leads, it's a numbers game. Talk to 20, hire 1. That's very real. The last hire we made, we went through 800 applicants. 800. So you need to have a system for that. I'm talking with guys who are hiring right now. They're close to 50 applicants they've gone through. You have to go through way more than you think. This is not 1980s or 90s where people were just so appreciative to have a job. There's so many jobs out there right now. You have to make your business look good where people would want to work there. What 7-figure owners track that lower 6-figure operators usually don't. Ad spend per channel, cost per lead, cost per acquisition, close rate by source, revenue per lead, operating expenses, cost per job, fuel, wear, and labor, profit margin per job type, monthly overhead, break-even point, speed to lead, follow-up, days to close, estimate to close, pipeline value. You have to be tracking these numbers to make real decisions in your business. Otherwise, you're just making them on emotion or guessing. The The guys that we have making multiple seven figures, they know these numbers better than the specs on their machine. That's the difference. Again, I'm not saying you don't need to know the specs on your machine. That's super important, right? What I'm saying is, in terms of growing your business, making money, these numbers are more important than that. Same leads 10x revenue. This is just sort of an example of, and when I look at my overall dashboard, I see almost exactly this. Same amount of leads, same service, same machines, but if you're closing 3% versus 15%, massive difference in revenue. A couple things, data, statistics outside of my realm. Dan Martell, y'all may have heard of him, has a book called Buy Back Your Time, really good. Your buyback rate, well, you figure it out. How much money do you make in a year? How many hours did you work? That's your hourly rate. So say you made $500K a year and worked 3,000 hours, that's $167 an hour. So the formula here is anything you can hire for under half of that, you should not be doing it. In most of you guys as land clearing or similar type businesses, you can hire pretty much every position for well under $80 an hour. Okay. Now, this one is the one that's like really different, right? You have to do this formula inside of your business. I'm sure Austin has a really good sheet for this as well. Don't hire to grow, hire to buy back your time, then reinvest that time into the highest value activities you can do. Open your time up for revenue activities. Brutal statistics from SBA and the Bureau of Labor Statistics. 20% of businesses will fail in year 1. 50% will be gone by year 5. 65% gone by year 10. And only 4% ever reach over 7 figures. That's wild to me. I want so many more of you to reach 7 figures. Why they fail? Number one reason is not lack of demand. It's not your competition. It's lack of management capability. You're great technicians, but terrible business owners. Construction trades, average contractor works 50 to 60 hours a week, but only bills 30 to 35. The rest is admin, estimates, and travel. That's the ceiling nearly every guy hits. Contractors who hire their first employee within 2 years have a 3 times higher survival rate at year 5. That's a crazy stat that I did not know until I looked this up. Wild. Think about it. Be bold enough to hire. This was just an example of one of our top guys that was really interesting to me because he started differently. Most guys start, they buy one machine, they start doing it themselves, and they grow from there. So this sort of just kind of validates what we're talking about today, but he knew his strength was business organization and sales, not being an operator. So he hired operators out the gate. And he is now one of the fastest growing land clearing companies I have ever seen. Austin knows a guy similar to this. When you put these systems into place ahead of time, you can explosively grow. But a lot of people don't. They start the other way, which is totally okay. But what's hard is to break that mindset from being the operator to the owner. He focused 100% of his time on closing deals, building systems, and growing, made every decision on data. To give you quick numbers, he grew from 0 to making over $1 million in his first 12 months of business. A lot of guys do not do that. And he did it because he did the things we're talking about today, because he understood business before, and he didn't try to be an operator. He tried to be an owner out the gate. Tommy Mello, another outside influence, shows kind of what we're talking about. Y'all may have seen him before on the internet. He owns A1 Garage Door Service. Started the company as a one-man garage door company, and is now a $200 million a year company. His quote was, "I spent years being a great technician and a terrible business owner. The day I stopped fixing garage doors and started fixing my business is the day everything changed." Love that. So hiring decision matrix from what I've seen. Green light to hire now. Revenues consistently above 30K. More leads than you can respond to in under 10 minutes. Turning away jobs or not being able to book them because you're too far out. Spending 15 plus hours a week on admin instead of revenue activities. Obviously, if you can't get to the leads fast enough, phone or sales help. If you can't do more physical work, operator or laborer. If you're drowning in admin bookkeeping work, VA is very easy to get. All the above, start with whoever frees up the most revenue time. The question's not, can I afford to hire? It's, what is it costing me not to? The kind of three phases I usually see: 0 to 300K, you do everything. 300K to $1 million, you do have some people, you manage people doing the things, you hire operators, build basic systems, but you're probably still selling and estimating. You're learning to let go of some things. $1 million plus consistently, that's where you're building systems that manage people. You hire leaders, not just the labor. You focus on strategy and growth, and your business runs without you daily. You work on the business, not in it. Your only stealing here is your vision. Couple truth bombs to wrap it up. If your business can't run without you for 2 weeks, you don't have a business. You have a prison with a nice truck or machine. This one stings even for me. I'm preaching to the choir here. The best operators in America make $250,000 a year, but the owners, those are the ones who make 7 figures. You didn't start this business to work 80 hours a week forever. You started it for freedom. So why are you building a cage? Track your numbers like your life depends on it, because your business does. And hiring is not an expense, it's an investment that pays you multiples when you do it right. So the question isn't can I, it's will I. Will you learn the skills you don't have? Will you track the numbers that matter? Will you hire for your weakness? Will you build something bigger than yourself and rise above the rest?
Love it. This is good stuff right here. We've got some people chiming in over in the comments, but I was taking some notes as I was listening. Some things that you said that really stuck out is basically what you ended on there. Being humble enough to address where you're weak and where your strengths are allows you to understand who you need to go hire for. And so I believe that, well, I see over here in the chat, we've got morning, Josh. He says, yeah, I need to hire, just nervous about it. And I believe that that's normal. Like most people are. And what happens? Like, what do you see typically happen at this stage, Jacob? Guys get to the phase where they've figured out the leads, and then they figured out how to go close the leads and turn them into jobs. And then all of a sudden we get busy, and then you realize you need to hire. There's 2 paths here. What do you see happen?
Yeah. The 2 things I see happen is they hire and usually get lucky on the first, couple guys they get, and they get the itch, they see it and they start to grow. Or you see guys have like one bad hire and they say they can't find good help, and then they just kind of quit, they give up on it. And then the other way is people just keep making that excuse forever, so they just stay small forever. And when I say forever, by the statistics, their business is going to fail, or they're just going to quit because they're going to get burned out.
Yeah, I hear you. Josh said, geez, Jacob, those quotes dig. Yeah, and I think this hits home for a lot of us. There's 3 main things in the beginning stages of business. It's leads, which we talk a lot about, and we have over the last 10 or 12 weeks we've been doing this. Sales, which we've covered a lot, and you're hitting the nail on the head with hiring. And this is the point where you get the choice. You get to decide if you're going to be solo owner operator, which is totally fine if that's what you want. Like there are probably guys listening to this who that's what you want. And if that is what you want, great, rock and roll, right? But for those of you who want to just continually grow, that's the thing we've got to address. And so another thing that you said that I really like here, as we go through like our crew day worksheet over in the group, you said something, budget like you were already paying the operator. And I see that guys make this mistake when they're filling out their worksheets.
Mm-hmm.
They're operating in the machine, but they're not charging the business for their time, because in their mind, it's like, well, this is just what I have to do.
Yeah.
But if we want to have the cash flow, we to be able to reinvest in the next person, then we need to go ahead and allocate that expense to our budget so that we can charge accordingly and have enough cash eventually to start to hire.
100%.
Budget like you were paying the operator. You also said 4 to 6 weeks is the sweet spot. Can you tell us more about that?
Absolutely. And I can tell you with that real story if you'd like.
Let's rock and roll.
All right. And by the way, when I say sweet spot, this is talking to tons of people about this who are super busy, super booked out. But especially my Titans that I talk to every week. But I was talking to one last night. And it's like so obvious from my end, of course, but I've been on both sides of this, so I know what it's like. But it's so obvious that they need to hire, but they're on the fence about it. So it's two brothers, and they're booked out until the second week of June right now with forestry mulching. They have 2 machines, but one guy does like the admin and one guy does the operating, right? And they are losing jobs now because people need it done sooner than the second week of June. And when somebody calls and wants an estimate, they say they can't be there for 2 weeks. They're losing now opportunities to even get jobs because of that. They're not being able to answer all of the calls and the phones. So to me, I just see massive opportunity costs. And I don't know if you noticed, I said they got 2 machines. There's only one guy operating. So every day there's one machine sitting, not operating. So they could either have that on another job or they could have it there at the job, doubling production, opening up days where they can get more work. But they're on the fence on, can we afford? They said these words out loud, can we afford to hire? And when I look at it, even not knowing every number, I know most of their numbers, I don't see how you could afford not to. Like, they're literally losing money right now because of this. But the 4 to 6 week sweet spot, people are generally okay with you booking them like 4 weeks away. They start to get a little antsy at the 6 week because they want it done. But you'll also have way more cancellations at that 6 to 8 week mark. So if you're consistently booking out that far, you need to do something. You need to do something.
In your mind, looking at it from afar, and it's so easy to look at it from afar. When you're in it, you're thinking about all of the different decisions that you have to make associated with trying to make that one big decision.
Yep.
Every single one of us on this live stream, if you're listening to this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You're trying to make a decision and you've got a million different things buzzing around in your head on should you or should you not. And you're trying to think of all the consequences that will happen downstream if you do it or if you don't do it. And so I would like to just zoom out real quick and let's just talk about this. If you were starting a business, what would be the clear path? Okay, I'm starting as an owner operator right now. I've got 1 machine. I'm growing. The first step is I need to figure out how to get leads. The second step is once I get leads, I need to refine my sales process, turn those leads into book jobs. After I do that, rinse and repeat until what you're saying, 4 to 6 weeks booked out as a general rule of thumb, correct?
Yep.
From there, what is that next step?
Well, you have to hire. You have to. And for me, like my thought's always going to be the operator, because then that affords you more time to actually like think and work on the business. Yes, of course, sales, but also like it helps you zoom out when you're not just in the machine. You can see the full picture. You can talk to the clients more. You can answer the phone better. Now, of course, you're going to have the machine question, um, in terms of getting another one. But what the first thing you're going to be tempted to do when you get that second machine and you have an operator, you're going to jump in that machine and you're going to work. So, and that's fine, for a period. You're going to increase your production and make more money, but just don't get caught in the trap again. Is the only thing I say there. Now, personally, that's what I would do first. Some guys go the admin route, get all the admin stuff off their plate first. That's fine. Again, this is decisions we make as business owners. But you should always hire your weakness and double down on your strengths. So you need to know what your weaknesses and your strengths are. And one thing that really surprised me when I started hiring employees, sometimes they're better than you. And that's really what you would hope for, is that they're better than you. But a lot of people worry about when they are really, really good is them not being as good as you. The golden rule here is 80%. As long as they can do 80% of your production, 80% of your accuracy, 80% of your output, that's still worth the move.
Yeah, and you hit on something there. I see this a lot. Like, I think one of the biggest struggles guys have is being able to let go of the reins. Man, I bought that machine. Like, my name's on the line. This is my iron. Nobody else gets in that seat. It's like, I had the exact opposite mindset.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, who can I find who can do as good or better than me? And ideally, way better than me. Like, and how can I go find that person as fast as I possibly can?
Yep.
And then pay them well and compensate them accordingly.
The guys that I've seen do that, I'm telling you, and I did not do this with any of my businesses. So like I was wrong, right? Or I didn't do it the best way in my opinion. But these guys I've seen come in and hire right out the gate. Holy cow. They just that's what I would if you were like, hey, Rise is shutting down, you gotta do something, you'll find me at the dealer, and then I will have a hiring campaign before I'll have a marketing campaign because I already know how to get leads. I'm going to get the operator first, most likely.
I mean, and we saw this play out last year, right? With the guy we were working with. It's like the unlock that you get by being able to pay A players 6 figures, multi 6 figures. Even, I was listening to a video last night. It's like the unlock that you get by being able to pay somebody $250,000. $500K.
That's the game.
That's what people do at the highest level. It's like, how do they just go find the best players in the market for that role, and then they pay them and compensate them well, and then they ask them to do the work.
Yeah.
It's so simple. And we can simplify it down even in our business, even if you're starting as an owner operator. If the goal is to be the best owner operator and operate the machine, once again, if that's you, that's great. Like, good lifestyle too. If you like operating, it's a fun thing to do. I get it. And if you want to grow the business, the hardest thing for me was like, I love operating a skid steer. I had to like let myself get out of that because it's more boring to sit behind a computer and track the numbers. At least for me, I'd way rather be out just mulching trees. Yeah. And I think a lot of guys are in that. So you've got to make that decision if you're listening right now. What lifestyle do you want? Do you want every single day owner operating the machine, dealing, handling customers, answering the phone, booking the estimates, doing all that stuff? If so, great. If not, then there's 2 hires at that point. If you're solo owner operating, you got admin and you got operator. Which one to do first? Pick one. Just know that you got to go hire the second one pretty soon after too.
Yeah.
The cool thing is with admin, like, I don't think we're too far off with AI being able to handle a lot of our back end stuff.
Big time. Yeah, especially tracking and like basic texting and follow up and email and stuff like that for sure.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. In my past life, I've hired thousands of people. For me, I feel like I need to do the job so I know what I'm looking for. It's a fair statement, especially if you're getting started out. I think one could also argue if you don't know how to do the job, it could be a better use of time to go find the person who already knows how to operate the machine. I think the biggest unlocks in business come from, and I was talking with one of the guys in Accelerator the other day. I'm like, when you're hiring, like your goal as the owner is to find more leaders in the business. The only way you can grow, like you can't do it all alone.
Right.
The only reason Bear Claw has grown because we have a great leadership team. You've met them. They're savages. Like they're A-team players. So it's like your job as the owner is to go find those people.
Exactly. You got to pay for it somehow. It's time or money, right? And so if you want to spend more time to learn each position before you hire it, that's fine. It's just going to cost you time. But if you want to get into it quicker, then you pay for it. You pay for somebody who knows more than you already. You pay for that experience they've already spent their time to get.
Yeah.
So you either buy their time, fast forward yours, or you're spending your time.
It's either time or money.
And I've done both. And I can tell you what people way cooler and bigger and making more money than me have told me. And it's the other route. Like you find the way to get the people first.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
so here, yeah, go ahead.
No, I just said, but I get it.
No, it's a real thing. Like it's a challenge. But when you come up to that, like my challenge for those of you who are considering hiring right now is, am I avoiding this because it's hard? Or do I really just love operating the skid steer or the mulcher? If you really love operating the skid steer and the mulcher, and that's what you want to do, once again, I think it's the third time I said it, great. And I'm not trying to deter people away from that lifestyle. But if your goal is to grow the business and you're straying away from that because it's hard, what Jacob has talked about here is a real thing.
Can I say one thing on that? Because I've said this forever too. Like, if you want to stay small, if you want to stay owner operator, like, cool, and still cool. But has anyone really fleshed that out? Like the amount of money you can actually make as you as the owner operator versus the amount of risk you're taking as a business owner for potential injury, lawsuit, that what could just go wrong that's not your fault. Somebody brake checks you on the highway and you flip this giant machine and trailer and something happens. Something happens at someone's property. They lied about what was on the property. All kinds of crazy things can happen just in business in general. It's risk. There's risk involved, but especially with these heavy machines and stuff. Is it really worth the profit you can get off of $200,000-$300,000 a year, maybe even $500,000 a year if you're really, really pushing it? The profit you can get from that, is that really worth the risk you're taking on as a business owner? Really ask yourself that question, because you can go out and operate machines for other people and make multiple six figures, like take home to your bank, have benefits, and very low risk.
No headache. Clock in, clock out, 40 hours a week, every weekend. Yeah. It's a great point. It's an absolute great point. And while we're on that topic, I want to take a few minutes here just to plug a couple of people who are actively growing their business in our communities. And feel free to jump in here if you know any of your guys who are looking to actively, they are growing and they're looking for operators as well. Colby, who has been a consistent top performer over in our group, is looking for a project manager up in Leavenworth, Washington. He is on the tree side of the business. So they do tree removals. They do a little bit of fire mitigation work as well. but he's looking for a project manager because he's growing, looking to focus all of his time on sales. He doubled the business last year, finished at 850. His goal is 1.4 this year. And he knows the next move that he needs to make is to hire basically an operations manager, somebody who has managed field crews. So if you know somebody, or if that's you and you want to just go work for a fast growing company and an entrepreneur who wants to move fast and grow, Colby's a great guy. Highly recommend. Ryan up in Connecticut is also looking for an excavator mulcher operator. He's in our group. He also works with Rise on the ads, and great guy. Also is moving forward and wants to grow the business. And so I think they're over 3 months booked out at this point. They've done a great job of just following your playbook, getting the leads, putting sales in place, and now he's at the point of hiring an operator. So if you want to go operate equipment, he's got great new equipment. It's an excavator with a mulcher, and he pays really well. So those are 2 opportunities right now. If you actually just want to go operate machinery, or if somebody you know would be a good fit for that, you can reach out to Colby, CliftonTreeService.com. Ryan is ClearviewBrushControl.com. Jacob, if you got anybody else who you're working with who you know is actually hiring, feel free to share right now as well.
Yeah, I wish I would have been more prepared for that. That's actually we have probably 10 guys hiring right now. I'll have to make a list. I can post
it. Yeah, we'll do it. We'll keep let's do a little segment each week just to plug a couple of guys who are moving fast and looking for great people. I think that will be a value add for those people in the groups.
And I would say that's a pretty neat concept to think about. If you need to hire and you know there's like competitors in your area that are maybe brand new and didn't realize what they were getting into, that's a good way to scoop someone up. They already know a lot of the things, right? But they just may not know some of the other stuff. Is this Josh here?
Yeah. Josh has been crushing it, by the way. Hats off to you, Josh.
I talked about this in the slides, but also if you want to give a different perspective there.
I believe it comes down to first knowing your numbers. And so where we start in the training over in the Owner Op School Group is the first thing that we do is we put together the pricing. Because I believe there are plenty of people out there right now who are listening to this. The biggest unlock that you could do is just sit down for 30 minutes and go through all of your costs so that you can understand how much it actually costs you to operate on a daily basis. And so along with that, as part of the line item, we have labor or operator pay in there. And the one mistake I see solo owner operators make, I think we mentioned this earlier, is you're not charging the business for your time to operate the machine. And so the way to solve this is just to go figure out your fair market pay. What could you go pay on the open market to hire a great operator in your area? And then charge that to your business, or AKA add that to your expenses so that you're allocating enough in your price for when you show up to a job and you quote, that all of that money is getting captured rather than you just being cheap and not charging for your time. And then the same can be true for health insurance, workers' comp. Okay. There's a term called labor burden. And it's just the term that's thrown around for workers' comp, health insurance. It's kind of a way to encompass all of the additional costs that are associated with paying a W-2 employee. So if you're paying somebody $35 an hour base pay, and if you only charge your business or set your pricing based off of paying somebody $35 an hour, then you're not charging enough, or you're not allocating enough.
Most of you are going to charge more, but when you're explaining that to the customer, and especially in your marketing, when you're explaining pricing, I always like to use the fact of, do you want a company showing up here with people operating these dangerous machines that are just making enough money? Or do you want people showing up operating these machines that are happy to be there, that are making good money, that have insurance, that have a good life, and they're happy to be at your property doing the job today. That's why our company costs more than Bob with the skid steer on Facebook Marketplace.
And this is a big hurdle for a lot of guys. It's like when I go hire first time, yes, I have to incur that. I know you and I like to frame it as an investment because it absolutely is an investment. But in the beginning, like it feels like a cost, an additional cost that you have to incur. When you go incur that cost, the next thing that most people's brains go to is like, oh, well, how do I figure out insurance? And I'll tell you right now, we use Gusto for all of our payroll. Is
Same.
that what you guys use as well?
Mm-hmm.
It's super simple. Payroll takes me 5 to 10 minutes every second Monday. We track all our time in Jobber. We send hours over there, and then Gusto does the payroll. Gusto also offers health insurance plans. They're not the greatest. Like, they're not the best plans you're going to find on the open market. But if you're getting started, it's a way to offer at least the Blue Cross, Blue Shield, whatever. I don't know. I'm not an expert on the insurance stuff, but I don't think I ever will be. But the easiest way forward is implement something like Gusto, use that for payroll, and then add on benefits because it's a couple clicks and you can get approved, and then you can provide benefit plans to your employees. Then you need to go understand how much that costs you, which, as a general rule of thumb, somewhere between 25 and 35% additional. Do you have any data to back that up, or this says differently, Jacob?
No, that's pretty accurate. And I do agree with you. It does feel like a cost. I get caught up in this sometimes too, but you just have to look at the numbers. Like, and I just did this with that guy I was telling you about last night. Like, if you could just get one more job, one more 1-day job, you can afford this. But what's really going to happen is you're going to get way more than that. It's like, and this is advice, unbiased advice. This does not change anything for me, right? So I'm just telling you this literally for your benefit. That, and I've been on both sides of it in multiple companies. When you hire, you get an exponential on that hire. Now there's things you can do and do right to get 10x, but the minimum you're shooting for is 3x. So like if you're going to end up paying somebody 5-6K a month, they should be able to allow you to produce 15 to 20K more a month. Now, does that mean it's because you're selling and they're operating? Or does that mean it's because you have 2 machines and you're going to operate with them? And so you're going to be able to have more production, right? Thank you, whoever that is. I'll check it out. Until he turns you in and sues you. I got lost in the comments there, but yeah. Anyways, you just have to you got to do the math on it, and I know it's always scary at first, but guess what? It's business, and though we get rewarded for the risks that we take. But also, like, once you get on the other side of it, you realize it's really not as bad as you think. And you can really, I mean, I've seen guys do it and it's a problem. They have a bad hire, and guess what? They fire them, and then they operate the machine until they hire another. Like, it's not the end of the world.
We've all done it. Every single one of us. I've hired agencies who didn't get us results, right? But like, if you throw in the towel on the first time that you fail, it's not that marketing doesn't work. Like, the first constraint in the business is getting leads. So as an entrepreneur, we have to go figure out how, like, either we do it or we find the person who can do it for us. And until we figure out how to get leads, we haven't checked that box. Same thing with sales. It's like, it's not a matter of whether sales works or not. It's we have to figure out how to do it. So we either have to do it ourselves or go hire the expert to do it. Same thing with equipment operator. We either have to do it ourselves or go hire the expert to do it for us. And whenever we hire the first person, if that person doesn't pan out, guess what? We just try again. And you know what I've learned? It's probably me. I didn't do a good enough job of vetting them in the hiring process. I wasn't patient enough in the hiring process. When I look back at why people early on didn't work out, it was because I just, hey, can you run a chainsaw? Can you walk? Can you talk? Great, here you go. Right? It's like that's not the way to hire. The way to hire is to vet the people and understand if they are going to be a good fit for your culture, and if they are the type of person who is going to take initiative, move the business forward. And once you figure that out, you realize that, hey, there are great people out there and they want to do a great job. And so if any of you are struggling with hiring right now, that interview, Tony Robbins and Alex Hormozy, if you haven't listened to that, it's incredible. And I'll sum it up. Tony Robbins talks about how our words shape our reality. And so if you're telling yourself that there are no good people out there and that I can't find no good help, right? I hear it so much. You've already lost. You've already lost. So reframe it. That's like the first thing that you should be telling yourself in the morning. Okay, after your morning prayers. But like, there are great people out there, and it's my job to go find them. There are great people out there who want to do a great job, and it's my job to go find them.
And be attracted to them. This is where your core values come in. Your core values should qualify and disqualify people pretty quick. And if you don't have thoughts, you should do that.
Yeah, sorry. I didn't mean to cut you out there.
Oh, good.
Any thoughts about hiring operators as 1099 subcontractor? I do have thoughts on this. Do you have any initial ones?
Go ahead.
It's a gray area. If you own the machines and if you're telling that person when to show up and when to leave, technically you should be hiring them as a W-2 employee. I know there's guys out there who do it. We don't. I just don't want anything to be gray area. Right? I'd rather just do it the way that it's buttoned up. And also, if you're hiring a bunch of subcontractors, typically you're dealing with a bunch of people who have their own agenda, right? They want to run their own business. I would way rather hire people who want to come join us and be part of our culture. And I just truly believe that you can build a team by hiring W-2 team members. That's my perspective. Insurance gets a little weird if you're buying the equipment and hiring 1099. So that's why I stray away from it.
That's what I was going to say. We had a guy get sued big time because he had some 1099 guys and they got hurt, broke his leg on the job, and he sued him as an employee for not covering the injury. Yeah. And he won. So it's like you do that because you think you could save on things like insurance, but you got to be very careful. The only way I would be cool with doing that is if it's like you're 1099ing another business owner. He's showing up with his own machines, his own insurance, all those things.
Yeah.
That's the only way I would do it personally. But yeah, like you said, a lot of people do that.
Yeah. And you bring up a good point there. So like if you're going to go tackle a big project that's outside of your scope, and if you don't own the equipment, but you know somebody else has a different specialty. For example, this is why like we have relationships with excavation contractors who don't want to do their clearing work. They go bid the whole project. They get the site work project, right? But they bring us in as a sub, and we have an agreement, a subcontractor agreement with that contractor. We bring our own insurance. We bring our own W-2 employees. We bring our own equipment. We are responsible for our portion of the job. So if you're going to go bid a big clearing project and you're a small outfit and you need to bring somebody else in, then you need to make sure that you have a clear written agreement for how that relationship takes place so that you are making sure that it is very clear how this thing is going to operate and what happens in the worst case scenario.
Yeah. Especially how you get paid.
For sure. 1099 sub typically has his own machine. So yeah. Yep. And once again, like all this stuff, like consult with your attorney. Like everybody has their own way of doing things, right? But it's very clear to me that when you're hiring W-2 employees, if you are telling people when to show up and when to leave, and you're giving them a clear direction for what to do while they're on the clock, they should be a W-2 employee. And it's just not worth questioning in my mind. Hire them, get the insurance, and then go raise your prices. It's very simple. It'll make you go up market anyway. You'll work with better customers.
Yeah. That took me way too long to do, and everything.
Hey, Jacob, you said one thing. You said you actually focus on hiring sales because you realized, you were humble enough to realize that, hey, sales is not my thing.
Right.
When did you realize that?
Very soon. But I'm just a little too much of a nice guy. I've kind of fought it my whole life, and I don't mean that to like make myself look good. Like, especially really young in my life, you know, I was very easy to like influence. You know, maybe even you could call me a pushover in some settings. And so, like, especially with sales, if people, you know, if like I had a product that I knew would help them, but I didn't want to be pushy, didn't want to be the sales guy, and you know, I would just let them go. I've obviously worked and spent a lot of money to be trained on that skill and gotten better at it over the years, but I just knew it wasn't it. And the second I hired the sales guy, he was booking 10 calls a day and closing 40%, like higher than I was closing. So that was really cool, cool to see. But also at that time, I was really good at the work, and I put out good product and a good production, a good capacity. You know, I had the capacity, and I didn't know how to hire for that yet, and so it just made more sense all around for me. Um, Now I ended up having to flip that at some point, but I paid all commission.
For listeners, how are you structuring pay for sales reps? Are they salaried or commission based?
I feel like you're going to have to pay a base if you're going to get any kind of legit person. But heavy commission, because these guys will get lazy.
Yeah, we pay a base plus commission.
100%.
Yeah. Could you address market analysis for a startup? Are there enough leads in a very rural area? Says Randy.
I'd have to know the area, but I have yet to find an area. Austin lives in a town of 30,000 or less, I think.
Yeah, that's with second homeowners. I think we got 1,200 in winter.
Right. Like, I mean, dude, I just have not found an area that has trees that you can't do multiple seven figures in. Now, there may be areas where you have to drive further than the dudes in Florida drive, you know, but no. I mean, I'd have to know more the area to give you a market analysis, but you can do this for free using Google. I'm pretty sure AI is pretty darn good at it now. I use Mangools as a tool to look at some of this data a little closer. But at the end of the day, like even areas with less Google demand, you can still do really well on Facebook, because if there's less Google demand, usually the people are just less solution aware. And Facebook works really well when you just show them what their property looks like and what it could look like after you help them out.
Let's go. Big Daddy Haas. You know who Big Daddy Haas is?
I'm sorry, I don't think I know that handle.
Good morning. Good morning and welcome to the show.
SES in the house. You're gonna make me do some brain work here. I'm trying.
Colby in here. Colby, are you in here? If not, he'll be on the call tomorrow morning. Colby's stepping up and leading tomorrow in Accelerator.
Let's
First
go.
time. Yeah. Colby, are you in here? I don't know if he is or not. Okay. It's 8. So I think we've covered everybody's questions here. I'm going to scroll back up here, make sure that we didn't miss one. Does anybody else have anything before we jump off here?
Oh, make sure I didn't. I saw some comments. Whoever pointed out the website thing after submit, I appreciate that. I did actually fix that while we were here. I changed the slug on a URL and didn't realize that was tied to that button. So thank you.
Happens.
Oh, let's see.
How much payroll should you have before hiring? What, Mr. Gardengarian. What do you mean by how much payroll should you have?
I think he's like saying, should you have it in the bank before?
Oh.
I mean, ideally, it would be nice to always have that cushion, right? But I mean, I'm telling you, I have made bets on this decision based on the data that I knew if I hired this person, I would open up the ability to make more revenue and would be able to afford them. And I've never lost that bet, ever. Multiple businesses, multiple years. When you make that decision based on data, you know, and you do it right, and it almost puts you in this position where it's like, oh, now I got to do it. And I kind of like that pressure sometimes. I know that's not always. I've tended to be more riskier in business over the years, kind of just betting on myself. But, you know, when I like that pressure, I don't know what else to say.
Here is how you solve this. It all comes back to pricing. And I believe we've hammered on it multiple times throughout the past live streams. If you're joining this first time, guys, you can go over into the school group, get a free crew day pricing sheet. If you know your numbers and if you charge your business for the next roles that you need to hire, that's how you have enough cash to make that next hire. Because it's very simple. If you're bootstrapping a business, what that means is you are taking on and assuming all the roles necessary to get that business to the next phase. So as a solo owner operator, you're mainly handling marketing, you're handling sales, and you're handling operations. And then you're doing admin at the back end. So whenever that starts to become overwhelming, if you're charging $1,500 a day, I'm telling you, that's not enough. If you're charging $1,800 a day, that's not enough. This is why we started the very beginning of these live stream series with like, I truly believe you guys need to be like everybody with a skid steer and a mulcher. If you want to grow, you should be bare minimum like $2,500. And to mobilize your equipment to anything less than that just doesn't even make sense, because you're going to lose out on mobilizations. You're going to blow a tire. Something's going to go wrong. You're going to start losing money. So my hope is that by you guys listening to the live stream, it's like, I hope that we make the industry better, because if you want to actually grow and pay people well, you need to be charging the right prices. And here's where I'm going to end it. If you can understand how much it costs to hire the next person for the role that you need to fill and bake that into your pricing, then you will have enough cash eventually to reinvest back in the business. If you're growing as a bootstrap solo owner operator, there will be this consistent push where you have to wear multiple hats and then identify the one next role you have to hire. And by you stacking the cash, if you're priced accordingly, you will be able to take that profit and reinvest. Now, that brings up a lot of other questions, and we can dive into those next week about, well, how much should I pay myself as an owner? How much should I charge? If you know your numbers, and if you know your expenses and what you should be paying to hire the next person to fill whatever role you're trying to hire for, whether that be operator, whether it be admin, whether it be sales, and you make sure that those expenses are allocated in your expense and you're charging accordingly in your pricing, then you will have enough cash eventually to reinvest and hire that next person. So anything else you want to add on that, Jacob?
No, that's a gold. You hit the nail on the head.
Perfect. Well, we're going to wrap it up here, guys. Thanks again for joining another week of the Land Clearing live stream on the Owner Ops Podcast. I'm Austin Gray. We got Jacob Neffendorf with Rise Online Ads. Guys, we've got a free school group right now, school.com/ownerops, where we give you the pricing template to help you understand all your costs. We also have other things about how to make the phone ring, how to go do sales and site visits, all that good stuff. So you can jump over there right now. It's still free for right now. School.com/ownerops, SKOL.com/OWNROPS. Thanks again for joining. I'm Austin. That's Jacob. We'll see you next week. Don't forget, work hard, do your best, never settle.